to get my thoughts out about Nipsey Hussle while it's all fresh. But I'm not really. I didn't want to like post something, but I do have one reason why I will post fairly soon, and it's not like a genius idea, but I just want to remind everybody about something. But yeah, I'm very unhappy about this situation, very upset about it, for multiple reasons. Obviously, as a hip hop fan, I think there's not been a lot of contenders like Nipsey Hussle in a long time. Kendrick is obviously in the same wheelhouse, but I mean, this is an awful situation, awful timing of everything. Just is this awful situation. But I think, like, for me, man, I just said, just watch this video kind of by accident about, it was like him and his wife, or I think they're married, and I love her. I think she was probably an ATL, right, or something like that. I think that was the same girl first time I saw her. I mean, I don't remember where she's all been, but I think she's, a lovely woman as far as, actresses go. But I saw this video and they were like doing like this little couple interview, like couples, whatever. She was asking him questions or something, and it was like, it was cute and it was funny and all. And they they talked about their kid, and it just was like, it made me feel good. And I was like, all right, man, I'm definitely ready to, freshen up, where, check on Nipsey, see what he's got going on. I mean, he's got a lot of music, but the victory lap is still fairly fresh for most people. Probably it's 2018, but I was trying to see, maybe he's got some more stuff or whatever since then, even, and I was like, let me put that on my to-do list. And then that was just the other day, and then there was this weekend, and it sucks, man. I think what hits me the hardest probably is like, as a parent, man, that's messed up, I mean, look, everybody's on the whole bandwagon of obviously, pointing out what a good dude he was and all the stuff he was doing. And I think that's what we all feel. But like, I mean, I do keep it real, and like, we have to acknowledge obviously that he has a history with, at least certain circles that, don't necessarily offer a risk-free life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to say it without, changing the tone or anything. It's, it's all due respect, obviously, but I do think, like, regardless of that, whatever potential might have been from his, surroundings and stuff, I think we just hadn't seen somebody doing it like this in a long time. And I think what's most tragic is that people didn't see it. I mean, yeah, he has a big following, of kind of like a cult following, if you will. Real hip-hop knows about him, but he could have been so big, with the music he's doing and all the moves he's making. He was on track to be where Snoop is at, with all the wide range of success that he's had. Maybe he wouldn't be a commercial character like Snoop, but, Snoop's had his hand in a lot of stuff. And it's like, yeah, it looked like where Nipsey was on his way for, you know. So, I don't know, man. It bothers me for a lot of reasons. But I think mostly when I really just think about it, the way it hits me so hard as, just an everyday dude that didn't know him is as a parent, I mean, if you young ones ain't got kids, you don't know, but it changes the game, man. And it's a whole different look. But I know the internet's on fire right now and the streets are on fire right now. Everybody's fired up about it, and I get it. I'm right with you on that. I just ran across it on social media, it was pretty randomly. Wasn't even like a headline situation. It was just kind of early morning, oh, look at this. And then it was like, oh, shoot, man. So, I'm not gonna lie, it's been on my mind heavy ever since, which is why I've been, leaning towards doing a little recording on him. But the reason I wanted to do it at all, normally I'm pretty late on stuff, and I'm fine with that because I don't care. I'm not like, clout chasing or whatever. I'm not trying to clickbait everybody. But I did have a thought that probably a lot of y'all have had, maybe not as structured as my idea, but I'd really like to see some sort of like movement happen to where like everybody who can, stream Victory Lap all day long, I don't know where whether it's YouTube or Amazon or Spotify, I don't know, wherever you can get it. I know that one for sure is on Amazon. So I'm going to play it to death, and, as petty as it sounds, I'm going to hopefully reallocate a couple bucks out of Jeff Bezos' pocket into the Nipsey Hussle fund, So I recommend everybody get on this bandwagon. I recommend you guys, if you haven't heard Victory Lap, which I'm sure most of you are hearing it, and it's probably your first Nipsey Hussle, but that's cool, whatever. We need to burn it up, man. We need to play it and play it and play it. And what I'm doing, man, y'all think it's a joke. I'm not joking. I'm over here. I got it on mute. It's just running, okay? And when I see an ad come up, I click the ad, and I watch the whole dang video of the ad, because it don't cost me nothing to click on somebody's ad. It costs them something. It don't cost me nothing to watch an extra couple of seconds, especially if it's on mute, you know what I mean? Instead of hitting the skip button, just let it play through. And it don't have to be on his channel or even on, anything, any video that has his song in there. If it's a copywritten song, which my assumption and based on his lyrics is that Victory Lap certainly is copywritten. So he's going to get money off that, or his family is going to get money off that. If you let the ads play, if you let that ad play through and click it or whatever you can do, you don't have to buy nothing. You know what I mean? Even if they throw a couple cookies on your computer, what's that going to hurt you? Is that the least you could do for Nipsey Hussle? You know what I mean? Like, go click on his music and let it play all night long. Now, I know what Amazon asks you, are you still listening? So it's probably rigged up to save them some pennies, but, YouTube will autoplay a long time, okay? You can set it up. Matter of fact, I put up a playlist on my website, on my YouTube channel, that just says stream Nipsey Hussle 24/7. And that's not for me or nothing else. It don't count for me in no way as far as I know. But if you click on that, it's all his videos that I could get so far. I know there's a bunch more. There's tons more. But it's not just his videos. It's his tracks that he has on his page. So I basically just duplicated as much if I could do at one time. I got more to do, but made a playlist of everything he's got out. So now, if y'all come around and listen, or anybody does, or whatever, and they actually sit through the ad, it might benefit, So that was my aha moment over the past couple of days, and I posted it on my Instagram and trying to get somebody else to, agree with me on this, but I think it's the way to go if you're just an everyday person that's, in your feels right now, Can't send flowers to a funeral, I'm sure, so we could send, a couple micro pennies of royalties, So we could do that. Hopefully it'll take off somehow or another. Hashtag stream Nipsey or stream Nipsey Hussle, Nipsey 24/7. I don't know. You guys tell me. Who's got clout? Let's get this thing going, y'all. But I do want to take a minute and talk about Victory Lap, because it's a I hate to curse right now at a time like this, but dang it, it's a goddamn good album. Okay? I mean, we had a lot of good albums this past year. Maybe I'm just in my feels, but I'll put this album up to next to a couple of them. Weezy and T.I. and a couple of them. So I think it's incredible. I think it's a dang shame that we are where we are because of some idiot, some ego that was like, insecure or whatever about the situation, or hater or greedy or who knows what. I mean, everybody knows the deal by now. I know they picked him up from what I saw on the internet. But, it don't matter, but I think I saw another thing. I haven't validated it, but I see some other retaliation against the situation. I'm not going to get into detail in case I'm getting fake news, but, situation like this, it only gets worse before it gets better, And I think that's what had happened. It probably ain't done happening yet, really. Because, it don't really matter what happens. If they put him in jail, he's good as gone anyway. Unless they spending taxpayer money to isolate him or something. But, if that's the playground you're on, you ought to know that word's going to travel through them walls, But supposedly they got him, and we'll see what happens. I don't think there's going to be any getting around that one. And really, I don't think it's going to matter, because I think, they ain't going to want him back on the streets anyway. They might just relocate him if he'll snitch on people or something like that. I don't know, man. Just trying to pull up the old track list here, because there's some features that I didn't want to mention or didn't want to miss. It's a bunch of good stuff, man. He always has good features. I think that shows you a lot about who he was as an artist, man. You got people out there right now, especially, who's paying for features off of their, off of their cash. Maybe they cash some money outside or something, Maybe they're just a Dr. Phil throwback reject type situation or whatever, and they're just paying people to be in their videos, which, is one way to do it. But then you got guys like Nipsey, who, every other dude in the game, or even women, that everybody wanted to mess with him. So that says a lot. Not just about his flow, but about who he was, you know. So let's run through these tracks, and I don't know why it's looking, I'm not sure what happened. It looks out of order now. I don't think it started with, maybe it did start with Blue Laces too. I thought there was another track. I think there was. Something's going on wrong here. Anyway, I'm not sure what Jeff Bezos has got going on here. It doesn't look like it's on the right order. But anyway, a lot of features. You got Kendrick Lamar. That was a good track. Dedication. You got Puff Daddy on a track, which I can't really even tell you what track that is. I don't think that's appropriate. And also, I can tell you that I skipped over that track a time or two, you know, while actually listening to the album. Like I said, I'm running the album regardless if I'm listening. I'm going to run it. But that's one track that a guy like myself doesn't really want to cling to. You know, I don't want to get that all in my head, end up at the grocery store humming the wrong tune. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, you got to be mindful of what you're letting into your psyche. So I skipped that Puff Daddy track a couple times, but I did hear it, and it, you know, I think Puff was really just background mostly, I think. But then you got YG on the track, and I really, really like this track. Last time I checked, that was one of the best ones as far as like, you know, aesthetics, like sounding good. That was a real good one. The other one, I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with this album at all. Can't complain about one thing. I kind of skipped around here. I saw Marsha Ambrosia. That's on the track. CeeLo's on the track. Yeah, it's a cool track. Kind of, I mean, if I'm being honest, like the idea of that track was probably one of my least favorites, actually. But you know, I'm not saying nothing bad about it. You got this guy Buddy, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's been on a couple other tracks. But it's got a good sound on it. J Black, T-Fly, I guess is how you say that. Other one, The Dream. That's a good track. Millions While You're Young. So he's got, I mean, I'm not just trying to name drop the tracks. I mean, the truth is, his albums and his flow is like, it stands out in its own way. Like, it's not standing out like over the top. It's standing out in what he says and how consistent it is. You know, like, especially when a track comes on, you got a couple people singing around. Sometimes some people's track, when it comes on, you got multiple people. You might have to ask, is that him? Is that her? Who's doing what? Auto-tune? I don't know. With Nipsey, it's pretty much like you just waiting for him anyway, and then he comes on and it's, you know, what you hope for. And also, his flow it's just full of value, all right? So, like some folks, they got a good way of it, you know, and they'll say something cool, but it's going to take them, you know, 2 or 4 bars to get the sentence out of how they want to say it and make it rhyme and all that, whatever. But with Nipsey's flow is like every line, every bit of it, from breath to breath is something. You know, it's like he's really saying something there, and it's like it's a metaphor or like something of like actual value. Like his content is never breaking. You know, it's like it's so good. I mean, I'm not just saying that. Like it's really a shame that, you know, we're in this situation. But if I'm being all like, you know, Mr. Positive, I'll say 2 or 3 things. One, he's got a lot of stuff. Like, I think there's 95 tracks on the playlist I made, and I'm not even done. So he has a lot of music. He's left us with a lot of stuff in his catalog. And I know people who knew him, he probably left so much more than music. But he's left us with a lot of good music. So, Victory Lap, to me, is a little ill-timed as far as the name and everything, and even some of the stuff he says. I think I don't know if it's on this album or the other track he has that's newer than the album. It's called Racks, something about Racks or something. It's real messed up, but he says something like, "Who gonna die next? Ain't trying to get elected." And it's real messed up to think about that. He called his album Victory Lap and everything else, man. It's just like, shit. Excuse me. But we got a lot from him. I think he was ahead of his wave, People are going to know about him so much more now, unfortunately, than they ever did while he was alive. I mean, you got the internet going nuts, name dropping, but that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm saying, like, there's going to be young kids now, seeing people who's grown talking about him like, how we talk about losing Big and Tupac. And I know there's a lot of people passed lately. There's going to be people, probably always have feelings about Mac Miller, But I'm not trying to throw shade in any way when I say I don't really think his reach is going to be the same. I mean, Mac Miller, I don't want to talk bad about it in any way, but it wasn't the same. Okay? So, it's unfortunate, but, we can be glad that we got what we got. So, that's my take. Hope you guys will go stream it nonstop. Stream it. Every time you think about it, like, I meant to check my Facebook, or I meant to see if anybody liked my Instagram, whatever. Every time you think about checking your phone, be like, oh yeah, and Nipsey Hussle. And then just turn it on, mute it, walk away. You know what I mean? If you happen to be sitting there and you see a commercial, click it just to make sure. I'm not sure all the rules, but I do know it's got to play past the skip button. You can't skip it if you want to give him any love on that shit. Excuse me again. But that's what I advise. That's what I hope for. I think, it's the least we could do, man. And, I ain't nobody to tell anybody nothing, but if I was y'all, I'd leave the family out of it, stay out of their business, stop using them for clickbait and everything else, all these fake news, fake blog type channels, I mean, I ain't trying to put myself on a pedestal. It's just my only reason to not wait 3 or 4 months on this is to remind everybody, hey, let's stream it. If I get 4 people to stream it for 3 months instead of waiting to post my little video thoughts, then that's better than nothing. So, anyhow, shout out to all those Nipsey fans. I know y'all feeling it. And everybody else, we'll talk on better days.